What if I told you that there were frequencies all around you that were altering your state of consciousness and ultimately controlling how you live your life? Okay, probably not very chill. We're gonna dive into it, we're gonna have a conversation about it, and we're gonna keep this very, very brief, very concise, and I'm gonna make everything make perfect sense to you. We're gonna start off with context. 2 states of consciousness, okay? Parasympathetic and sympathetic. Now, all of that just sounds very confusing, but quickly just let me define it, and we'll go back to it. We're not going to use those words a lot because they don't make a lot of sense to me either. But essentially, parasympathetic is a state of calm, a state of digest, right? You eat your food, you lay down. It's just... Sympathetic, however, that's fight or flight. That's like, oh, shit, I gotta go get to work. I gotta go make money, gotta go provide for my family. Great. Those are the 2 baselines. Okay, as far as how your brain actually works, I am creating 2 more baselines, one called the natural state, one called the modern state. So the natural state is going to be that quiet, parasympathetic, that quiet, balanced, you're connected to nature, you're calm, you're present. That modern state, however, is going to be overstimulation, distraction, restlessness. Great, so we understand those. Natural state versus modern state. Natural state, I like to think of like being out in the woods with no noise. Sounds awesome. Okay, next thing. What is actually going on in our brains? And when I talk about frequencies, how could a frequency, what the fuck even is that? How could a frequency actually affect my mind? Well, our brain actually operates and outputs frequencies that we can actually read. These are called brain waves. There's a bunch of different ones, okay? Delta, theta, alpha, beta, gamma. I'm not going to go into what each of them means. They're essentially just the measurements. So when you see a wave like this, right, it's how close the waves are together or how far away apart they are. And that decides what your level of stress is, what your level of calmness is. Brainwaves are essentially the speed that your mind runs at. The faster the waves, the more stressful and busy your mind is. The slower the waves, the more calm and restful your mind is. Very simple. There's another concept. It's called entrainment. And it's when your brain's rhythm, the speed of your brain, matches the speed of your environment around you. Very, very crazy. Okay, this is the biggest part of this entire conversation is entrainment. So if we hear fast music, our brain is going to move faster, our heart will begin to race, vice versa. If we sit in silence and some sort of meditation or whatever it is, our brain is going to slow down. Okay, now, with all of that being said, let's take a look here at the biggest environmental inputs that alter our state and are actually giving off frequency that is going to place our brain's frequency in that faster, more stressful mode. These things just exist. I'm not even going to go into like for instance, okay, you have screens, you have blue light. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that they mess up your sleep cycles. I'm just going to tell you they exist and they do actually put your brain in a higher frequency, okay? The frequency of your brain is going to move quicker because you're getting energy blasted into your eyes, okay? It just makes sense. So there you go. First one, screens, blue light. We have social media. We have ultra-processed foods. We have constant sound. I have my mini fridge back there making a little zzz. I have my fan up on the ceiling making a little noise. I have my AC unit. I have traffic on the road. I have music in the parking lot. I have music in the store. I have constant noise, never silence. Okay. Next big thing. This is the last one, is electromagnetic fields, EMFs. You probably heard of these. Like, oh, people fear-monger around this word. Simply put, electromagnetic fields are just invisible energy from Wi-Fi, from your phones, from towers, from microwaves, for instance. Just like the sun gives off light and heat, every single, without fail, electronic gives off some sort of energy, some sort of wave. So we live inside of those wavelengths every day. This microphone, the camera I'm talking to, my phone, everything. It's giving off waves, it's giving off heat and light, and I am receiving them, okay, because I'm a reciprocal being, and it's just how it works. Now, the cost of these things is very obvious, but let's not even place it as a cost. Let's just talk about where society is today. I feel like generally there's constant stress. There's very, very high levels of disconnection. There is very high rates of chronic disease and obesity. And it is, we're living in a very split society spiritually, okay? And I'd argue that these frequencies around us do make it harder to hear our own thoughts and to feel that connection with God or universe or whatever it is that you find spirituality in. So I now want to go into, why isn't this being talked about? You know, why would they want us to be in this state, in this altered state of, like, you know, heightened stress? Okay, well, if you're distracted, you're overstimulated, as a society as a whole, you're going to be easier to control and you're going to be way more profitable. That's a big one. So when your brain is stuck in that stress mode, the sympathetic state, okay, the modern state, you're going to consume more, okay? You're going to have more junk food. You're going to consume more entertainment, drugs, stimulants, cheers, distractions. And when you're never calm or clear-minded, you're way less likely to question the government, the system we live in, the habits that we do. All right. And so now before we move on to the parasympathetic state or the natural state, I want to clear something. Hundreds of years ago, our ancestors, right? I am not saying that we should go back to where they were, because they were in a very sympathetic state. Limited access to food, limited access to water. They were probably getting attacked and mauled by bears. They were in wars with people all the time. It was really, really hard to live. And they were in a constant state of fight or flight. Okay. We as a society today have abundant access to food, to water, to shelter. We have very advanced technology. We have extremely efficient means of communication, dissemination of information. We can learn anything, but we're still in the same sympathetic state. Doesn't make sense to me. Why, as a society, would we have all of these innovations but still stay in the same brain frequency of heightened stress? Oh, well, it's human nature. Okay, but we have everything we need to be able to technically live in a basically complete sympathetic state where we can focus strictly on arts, creativity, and overall meaning and fulfillment and creation, not worrying about the stresses of making money, of getting to work, of raising your children, of having to pay bills. Okay, great. So simple contrast, parasympathetic is calm, grounded, connected. Way harder to manipulate, and it's easier to live with purpose that way too, okay? So industries built on our distraction, social media companies, food companies, just to name a couple, they're gonna be the ones that benefit. And that's all I'm gonna really leave you with. I think that's all that needs to be said. If the world profits from keeping us out of balance, then I think reclaiming our natural state is not just like a personal decision, it's really a decision that we need to make as a society to become free, to see the truth. If you can't see that, I'm afraid you're blind. But yeah, I hope that this was a valuable video, that you got a new perspective from it. And yeah, wish you the best of luck. God bless.